Hey, this is Charles Onyett with IGN.com. I'm here with Nick Kolan.
Hey everyone.
And we are checking out Tera, an action MMO from Bluehole and Masse that's scheduled to launch in North America on May 1st. This is a closed beta test, and Nick, oh my goodness, you have a mount.
That's right.
Nick, you are playing a ranged class right now. She's sitting side saddle.
This is yes, she is. This is the Sorcerer. So this is a ranged magic wielding, damage dealing class. I'm actually going to ride over to an area where I know there are some tougher monsters. I'm heading in the right direction. I am heading in the right direction. Yay! So you may have seen some of the other class videos that we've done, and they've been almost entirely melee classes. Playing a ranged class is quite a bit different because Tera is an action MMO. There's no target and attack like you might see in World of Warcraft or the Old Republic or EverQuest. You actually have to be within range of the enemy and use your attack and have it aimed at them in order for it to hit.
Yeah, it's not an automated system.
Correct. So when you're playing, I'm in the middle of yawn there.
Sorry, no, I was. It's okay. Please continue.
So while with a melee character, that means you'll be hacking and slashing. For a ranged character, it plays more like a third-person shooter, as you'll see. So I can actually sort of.
Are you just holding down a button right now?
I'm just holding. Right now I'll hold down the button for occasion when I feel like I'm pretty safe. But as you can see, they're gonna try and attack me, so I gotta move out of the way. Right now I'm just holding down the button, so it doesn't require me to click a whole lot.
So you sort of have an auto attack in that if you just hold a button down, it'll just keep performing the attack.
That's right. Yeah. But I have to keep it pointed over the thing. I can't just look around at my environment and go, ooh, look at pretty trees.
They are pretty trees.
They are. But I actually have to pay attention to where the enemy is coming from. And that makes a big difference. I'm actually going to try and fight this basilisk here, which I know is a much tougher creature, and see how this strategy fares.
He's slowly turning around. There he goes. Is he running away? Nope.
So he's going to
Now he's getting irritated.
Uh-oh.
Oh, something just flashed.
Yeah, when you see that red eye flash, that means there's a really powerful attack coming.
And that does seem to be unique across all enemy types, is they'll each have kind of a unique, I guess, tell, if you want to call it that, that signals that they're about to do something that you should probably either dodge or... Ouch. Was that his attack?
That was his attack,
okay. You should probably either dodge or start moving or something. You just shouldn't stand still.
Yeah, which is a really useful gameplay mechanic, and also adds a lot of interesting gameplay elements because it means that you are in control of whether or not you get hurt. So right now, I've been hurt by this dude once. He's probably thrown out, I don't know, half a dozen attacks, maybe a few more. But he also has a huge amount of health. I've gotten down to about 80%, and I know he has a few attacks that will get me down to about half health in a single move. And so if I just mess up once, I'm toast. But because I can see moves coming, it's really, ouch, my fault like that if I get jumped on or my face bitten off.
Yeah, so I guess that gives a little more freedom in terms of like if you want to try and take down a much more powerful foe, you're not necessarily so limited just because of strict level ranges. If you are somewhat skilled at playing, you have a much better chance of surviving and possibly winning the fight.
That's right.
Than you would if it was just like, oh well, he's level 44 and I'm 38. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to take that guy down.
Although there are still instances, like for example, the amount of damage you deal against a much higher level enemy is going to be negligible. Like whereas a normal attack against this guy is dealing, say, 500 damage. Against an enemy, if your level is higher, it drops pretty drastically. So there is some balancing mechanism there. So you can't just head to the max level zone and start wailing on max level enemies at level 1. If you're really that good. I mean, you could. It would just take a really, really, really long time to kill anything. But as a spellcaster, as you've seen, it sort of plays like a shooter. There's also a lock-on ability.
Which, and that's useful against groups of enemies, right?
Yeah, I mean, it deals good damage against a single target, like this. And it can be used, it's got a pretty short cooldown, so it can be used to just take out a single enemy. Let's see if I can find a. I'll try and pull several enemies at once using that move. What makes
hop
this,
on your horse.
What makes this move cool is that you can actually lock onto, if I can get it within range of each other, you can lock onto multiple enemies at once and then hit them both. This move actually locked onto 4 enemies at once. There's a move on the archer that locks onto 5. It might actually increase based on level, but it just means and the damage actually splits. So if I'm fighting a single target, this is a huge chunk of damage. If I'm fighting multiple targets, the damage is split. So there's some strategy there, and it also requires some skill because I have to be able to swipe across multiple targets in quick succession to be able to use it. You'll also see that there's some combo moves popping up now and then. The caster has a lot of different combo moves. If I dodge out of the way, for example, I think I trigger one. This ice move is a really good combo trigger. I think it's...
So what did you just follow up? That you did an ice attack and then you followed up with what, magma bomb?
Yeah, I lobbed a ball of magma at my enemy, which is always nice. And there is a third kind of move. I think I showed this off with the Berserker, but it wasn't very clear. You can actually charge up certain attacks by holding the button. So this one has 3 different levels, and then I let go, and well, I'm actually not sure what happened there. I may not have been within range, so I'll wait and I'll charge it up again.
And then how many, I assume you go back to a trainer as you level to learn new skills and things like that?
Yeah, so you go to the trainer, at least in the early levels, it's once every 2 levels or so you get a new move. And you get extra ranks and moves, and then ranks don't just increase the power, they increase the utility. For example, the charge up ability will gain extra ranks of charge as you get different ranks of the spell. So even though you get a rank up, it doesn't necessarily mean the spell's going to function the same way. You'll also see it in the corner of the screen. I'll point it out with my mouse cursor. About here, there's a little heart logo that it says 112% stamina. Stamina determines to some extent how effective you are in combat. If you have more than 100% stamina, you actually start getting bonus health, bonus maximum health, and bonus maximum mana. You also get a higher chance to get critical hits on enemies, and that degrades the longer you spend in combat. For that to go back up, you have to head back to a town and sit next to a fire. There's little campfires. You can actually drop portable campfires, and this character has one now. So I'll drop one. And then you'll see the heart logo gets really big in the corner there. Starts going back up. And you'll see that my maximum health actually increases at certain intervals. It's an interesting mechanic. It's different from Rested Experience, which is another popular MMO mechanic, to stop people from spending 8 hours in the field. But it means that you do end up sort of standing there doing nothing. You can actually use items. There are certain items. This charm, for example, when you use a charm, oops, I'm in the middle of using a skill. Charms will give you buffs that you have to be near a fire to trigger them, and the buff won't actually take effect until you're in combat. So you can sort of prepare for the day's combat by going to a campfire and using these charms, gaining a whole bunch of buffs, and then going out into the field and laying waste to everything.
So having played as a melee class, somebody who attacks up close, and something like this range class that sits back and fires off almost like you're playing a third-person shooter, which would you prefer? Is there one that's more enjoyable, that feels more involved in the fight, or are they both kind of equally fun, just for different reasons?
I think in the same way that playing a melee character in other MMOs tends to require more movement than playing a ranged character, it really depends on what you find more enjoyable. I think I've been enjoying playing a melee character more because of the sort of circle strafing around enemies and getting behind them when they attack and doing all that. Although with the caster you get to sort of kite enemies around, you get to use your dodge moves creatively, you get to snare them, and it's all about making sure that they never get close to you. It's really up to whether you like to control the fight manually or respond to the fight as it happens. I personally like to respond to the fight as it happens. So I've been enjoying the melee characters a little more.